Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful conversations in English with non native speakers. My name is Jendrik,
My name is Masha.
and we are two English teachers who,
Who uh, who believe in the power of words. Do you believe in the power of words?
oh, absolutely, I subscribe to that statement, with my all my four
That's
limbs,
why we are English teachers, language teachers.
Yeah, definitely. But you say that having something particular on your mind?
No, no.
All right. But you believe that the language we use, actually, wait a second, is it even true? Does the language we use shape the reality around us?
Well,
Because now when I think about it,
the language we use is the
now when I think about it, it's not what I'm teaching people. I'm always saying that don't worry about the language, don't worry about the words, it's the communication that's the most important. So
yeah, but
um,
communication happens through language.
it happens through language, but you said that the words, and I don't think words are so important. Ideas may be more important words,
Yeah, but
because
how can you
just the same
convey an
idea,
idea without words?
like it's very hard to do it totally without words, but it's doable if you use some substitutes. It doesn't matter if you use
Like what?
like 1 hour ago or two, I had a class and a person didn't know the word to recover,
Hmm.
and she said uh to feel better after. But isn't that great?
But she still used words.
Well, yeah, but not so. But claiming that particular words are indispensable because only these words, can convey the message is wrong because it's not true. I mean,
But I just love listening to good speakers. I mean, oh my God. It's like
mhm.
linguistic orgasm, honestly.
By good speakers, you mean people who have clever ideas or people who speak beautifully?
Both. Well, yeah, both.
Because I
They
think
have clever
it's
ideas and they find the
mhm,
minimum and the word that does it the best in this situation. And they do it fluently. I mean, some people can write like this because you just have more time to put everything together. But
mhm.
when people speak like this, oh my God, don't you just
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it can make you envious. You're like, I wish I could use words like that.
And it's not actually, I can't speak like this in my own language. It's not a matter of,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
language. Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. But so this is certain intellectual disposition, I would say, rather than mastery of vocab.
no,
Like,
in the end, it's both.
well,
You
obviously
have
you
to
have to,
master the vocab.
but you're right. You're right. Yeah, I mean, having rich language is great.
Yeah, I agree.
It's definitely great. It's a
Totally.
pity I sort of don't have it.
It's such a pity, but we
But
can
it's good for the
learn. I
podcast.
mean,
It's good for this podcast and our listeners, because at least our language is simple and, it's not shocking to people. They may not get any
not shocking,
aesthetic
overwhelming.
orgasms.
Okay, not shocking.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
gets orgasms by listening to us. Jesus Christ.
All right.
That's
But yeah,
something to
so it's
aspire
kind of,
to.
I don't know. Well, why not? But
It would
um,
sell so nicely.
now when I think about it, it's rather,
Listen to us for
the
more
quality of your
intellect.
voice rather than the words that you
No,
use.
no. Well, in my case, no. I mean, when I listen to these great
All right.
speakers, and
So you,
it's not
you
only the
focus
voice.
on. All right. Well, I don't know where I am on that, to be honest. I mean, words are important, but I still think the speakers that fascinate you, they simply speak a lot of sense to you and they
Yeah, but
make
how they
sense to
do it, it's
you.
also, I notice it. I notice. I don't know, maybe not
All right.
all people do pay attention, but
All right. All right. No, no, I know. I definitely know what you're talking about.
When I
But
read your newsletters, I
mhm.
mean, I don't want to, but but I mean, the way you write, it's very different to the way you speak.
All right. That's
This
interesting.
is exactly what I mean. You know, when I read and I understand that this is exactly the word that was required
Hmm.
here. And it's
Hmm.
sometimes it's one word where some other people would use a phrase. This is so
Yeah, but
efficient
then
and
you
so,
but then you know better than anyone that writing is different than
yeah,
speaking. I
yeah, of
mean,
course.
you don't have so
Better
much
than
time.
anyone. Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, at least in our environment, yeah.
Between among two of us.
Yes.
But better than anyone here right now.
Yeah, on the show, yes.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
but you know something about writing and you know also the theory of it and so on. So it's totally different than speaking. And that's why reading, I guess, is more challenging than listening to an ordinary conversation that is much poorer in terms of, you know, the
Oh,
vocab and some grammar structures and so on. And there's even a different syntax, to speaking.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's like, make lots of repetitions sometimes, sentence fragments and so on, something that would be terrible in writing.
Hmm.
All right. Anyway, but I still don't know if I agree that words. What did you say at the beginning?
You believe in the power of words?
You believe in the power of words? Yeah, I believe in the power of words for sure. And definitely in marketing.
Because some people say, actions mean much more than words. But I can't say that
Hmm.
I subscribe to this fully because sometimes I need to hear a person say something. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
of
You're
course, if
right.
it's only lip service, then, it will not matter much, but I still need the words first. So
Yeah.
I think sometimes words
I'm
mean as
remembering
much as
right
actions.
now one meme. I don't know. We probably haven't included it in our newsletter, but there was, somebody said the person who added S to fat food was a genius of marketing. And now it's fast food and not fat food.
Oh, wow.
That's the power of the word. It's fast food. It's not fat, it's fast. All right.
That's brilliant. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
All right, great. Masha, time to go, in my opinion, to the thinking out loud proper because I see in the analytics that people don't listen to our intros.
They don't?
I don't know. I don't know honestly because I don't have that kind of stats to be honest. I was making it up. But I guess that this is what we do. We go through some kind of intros. People listen. What kind of crap is that?
Well,
The
they
time.
talk about gardening. They don't even have the vocab to talk about gardening, and they, yeah, that's
All
what
right,
people would say
fine,
if
fine. And there is
they ever
something.
said to me.
There's a burning question I want to ask you,
Go ahead.
and it's actually the question of the week, and it's about a concept that is getting some traction now because it's about common sense. And you probably heard about the revolution of the common sense that is unfolding in the United States, and
That's what they
perhaps
call it?
they call it the revolution of the common sense, and perhaps rightly so because they are kind of revising some policies and so on that were maybe not entirely
So
commonsensical.
common
But I want
sense. Mhm.
I want to ask you about this concept, because it's worth exploring maybe. So, do you see any conflict between science and common sense? What do you think? Are they kind of contradictory or at least conflicting in some way?
My first reaction was like, any science must be common sense, but
Hmm. So what
must
so
it
what is
not?
common? Well, it's no, it's the reason I'm
The word
asking is
common, I mean, maybe we don't use it the way it, like, okay, this word common, of course, now I'm thinking it's something that this combination, common sense, implies that it might not be scientifically proved or based, but because a
Mhm,
lot of people agree that this makes sense, it becomes common sense,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's what
I
common
mean,
sense.
yeah, but then I'm thinking if common sense is so common, I mean, um,
There must be some science behind it.
yeah. But it's actually quite funny because the translation from Polish is not common, but it's healthy, zdrowy rozsądek,
Yeah,
we
the
say.
same. Zdravый смысл.
Yeah. So we don't use common.
Здоровый
Uh,
глузд, yeah. Okay.
yeah. Or sometimes we say chłopski rozum. So it's like it
Any ordinary
means
man, Holopsky, yeah?
yeah, yeah, referring to a man or even a peasant,
Holop.
Yeah. But
But
anyway,
mhm.
mm, so you say that common sense is something a lot of people
I can
believe in.
see, I don't know how this question came about, but I can see, like, I can only come up with two conflicting situations when everybody believes that when you have a cold, it's no,
Hmm?
no, I found something totally outrageous. All these
Oh, go on. Come on. We
all
need
these old
controversy
no,
here.
no, yeah, yeah, these old ladies, I don't know how it is in Poland, but probably the same. Near
Hmm.
each block of flats there is a bench,
Yeah.
near the entrance,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
usually you can find these you know old ladies sitting there because they have nothing else to do but to gossip and to
There
judge
used to be some
everybody.
thugs sitting on benches, but
No.
fine. Old lady. Now it's
Yeah. And you know what they say, if you, God forbid, if you go outside without a hat, they will tell
Mhm.
you you'll get what is this, meningitis? Is it
What?
meningitis?
So I don't
Meningitis?
know what
Ah!
don't know what is that, but you mean like you
It's
will get
a
sick
brain
simply.
inflammation.
All right. All right, fine.
Meningitis in meningitis. You don't
All
know
right.
this?
Mm,
No,
no,
okay.
I mean,
Okay, it's brain inflammation.
all right.
And they think that it's common sense that, if you go out without, if it's very cold, you're not wearing a hat, this is what will happen.
Hmm.
Your brain
Hmm.
will get inflamed.
Hmm.
But it's actually scientifically not, it's wrong scientifically because you get this brain inflammation if you are infected.
It's a
It
virus
must
or
be by,
what?
it could be
Yeah.
no, it's usually bacteria.
All right. So either, yeah, but some kind of
Well,
a
okay,
microbe.
virus or by bacteria. So
Hmm.
this is an example I can think of, when it's kind of common sense, but
But
it's
it's not just about brain inflammation, but I guess it's about falling sick in general. People have this kind of link between low temperatures
low
and
temperature
falling
or
sick.
air conditioners,
Yeah, which kind
drafts
of
in general, drafts.
which is funny because at the same time they say that cold swimming.
Yeah,
So
exposing
like
yourself to low temperatures today is like one of the
this is
pillars
like
of,
exactly,
yeah.
and this is totally anti common sense. There's some kind of contradiction. So okay, you open the window in the winter and you get sick, and somehow swimming in the river when the river is 1 degree, um, cold is
But,
fine
but then
for you.
is it really common sense? It's just, only these old ladies or only some people who believe
I would
in,
say that I think it's rooted deeper than the old lady than in
I would
old
just call
ladies'
it a
minds. I think
misinformation or misconception. It's not common sense. It's a bad example. Okay, and let's go back.
no, no, but I like
Uh,
it. I like it. I would say
mm,
that it's a
I take it
maybe it's
back.
not a
No.
common sense. It's a common belief.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but
Very common misconception. I'm I want to
yeah,
stick with that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, something that is, when do we use this common sense? It's common sense. It's just common sense. Oh, give me an example of common sense.
Mm, I was thinking about what else? Some grammar rules, you know.
How did this question come about?
I was trying to explore the concept of common sense,
But how did
because there's
science,
it's a
where is science here?
I was trying to contrast it, and somehow what you think is commonsensical is not exactly true sometimes, but yeah, it's what I want to explore here with you. It's not
But I
like
think,
it's not
but I
like
think
I know it.
what you say happens when there is a new finding
Yeah,
which disproves this
yeah.
belief or common sense. So
Hmm.
there is no contradiction here. It's just that you have more information and it
Hmm.
stops being common sense because, it was common sense based on the information available
Hmm.
at that
I
time.
wish we had I wish we had some kind of illustration for that, but
Mm.
it's true. I'm coming here unprepared.
Okay. Again, I don't know if you know about, oh my God. They used to believe that if you eat a lot of eggs
Yeah.
or meat, fatty meat, you
Hmm.
will you
You will
will
die.
have no, you will have very high cholesterol.
Cholesterol. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
that's what was believed
And
for a
then
very long time.
Tina Turner revealed that she's eating two eggs each morning, and she was totally fine.
Well, and
She's
then
dead now.
later, these dietitians or some kind of scientists, they said that there is no correlation between these.
Yeah,
And there is actually
yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
like they called bad cholesterol. Well, bad, I mean, low.
But this is falling into that category of
Yeah.
misinformation. It's like the
No,
same like
why
cold.
misinformation? This information was, we make decisions and come to conclusions based on the, best possible available to us information at this point. That's why,
But you remember
eating
that you
healthily is so goddamn difficult because today they tell you one thing, and then
yeah,
5 years
yeah, yeah,
later they
yeah.
discover that, actually, we were
And
wrong.
that is why sticking not to science but to common sense may prove actually more efficient.
Yeah, but what
I
is
mean,
common sense?
well,
Golden
it's like
medium?
some sort of, yeah, something like that. I pretty much subscribe to the point of view that your food should be colorful. Like, your plates, your meals should be colorful. It means that, there are different colors, not just like, mashed potatoes and whatever, and some fat. So basically that is pretty commonsensical. There's no science to it, but at the end of the day, you end up eating healthily because you eat different things,
Yeah, I'm thinking,
vegetables.
you don't even need science for that because it's pretty common
Yeah,
sense. The more colors
yeah,
you have, the more varied, the more
yeah. There are
different
vitamins.
nutrients
There
you
are
get.
exactly, exactly.
So common sense is something you don't even need science for
You don't need
because it's
science for,
so
and
apparent. No?
I'd like to say yes, and I think yeah, but of course there may be one day a scientist,
Who will disprove it?
who will disprove it, like you were wrong because right now in France, every time some kind of a snack advertises like peanuts or something like that, they say avoid grignoter. It means what is the name? Munching or snacking. I don't know what's like when
Chewing?
when you
Eating?
no, 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 it's like when you take bites, small bites. Yes, it's munching, right?
avoid
Like, you
binging
open
or binging on
whatever, yeah. But they say avoid that, and then in the next line they say, remember to eat at least 5 fruits or vegetables or fruits. Actually, they say 5 fruits per day. This is a bizarre statement, coming from the Ministry of whatever health or whoever's responsible for that. Because eating 5 fruits per day, I don't think is necessarily a good thing.
no, it's actually not a good thing.
It.
It
I mean, I
will,
can't I can't tell you like scientifically why it's not a good thing, but I
because it's
know
just
it.
too much sugar.
There is sugar. That's one thing,
Yeah.
and the other thing is that I don't feel particularly well if I eat too much fruit daily. I'm speaking about my body, my system. Maybe I'm like that. I'm reacting, but I'm farting a lot. I'm
Thank
not
you.
going to go into details. All right, but it's it. I mean, it can be
Remember
good.
our aim. So people get linguistic orgasms while listening to us. You're not helping here.
All right. But the point is that your common sense, I mean, my common sense at least, will
Maybe
tell me,
different
yeah,
to
that one
mine.
fruit is fine, but five, it's
Okay, it's
maybe.
definitely different to the one that your Ministry of Health has.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Ministry
But
of,
I guess I guess that there are some fruit producers, some lobbyists
and
who
I'm
go to the
sure a
ministry.
Ministry of Health in France and the Ministry of Health in Germany, they have very different common sense
Yeah, yeah.
because of the
Of course.
food fetish or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, and maybe not fetish. Sorry.
No, but simply, it works like that. But I guess they base their recommendations on something, and that something should be science, right?
Or
Unless it's
common sense for the French.
or common sense, but I smell some kind of lobbyists there, fruit producers. Hey, we have to sell our stuff. We have
Well,
to
but
sell
then
these apples.
it's neither common sense nor science. Then what are we talking about? If you
No,
smell,
but yeah, you're right. But once again, common sense is some kind of a shield against some you know
okay, but what is it? It's what everybody agrees is rational. Is it's a some kind of
no, but no, because if you force some point of view, then it doesn't mean that it becomes commonsensical if it's forced.
well, what do you
Like,
mean?
the whole thing about this common sense revolution, or counter revolution, whatever it is right now being called,
Rebellion.
rebellion, yes, is partially aimed at um, the revoking of the policies that were associated with
Diversity, equity,
DEI.
inclusion. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They,
Yeah.
So that means that they say there is no longer 50 genders or however many there were, but
Mhm.
just two. This
Yeah.
is commonsensical. There's a man and there's a woman. There's a male and female, and and yeah, and I guess that this is the common sense. And now, if we have some people claiming that there are 50 genders, different genders, and let's say that they keep repeating that, and it gets to every book and so on, medical books, which was actually the case, and I think is the case, then would that actually become common sense
In
that there are
100
50
years,
genders?
yes.
All right, all right. So yeah, so that's definition of common sense is actually what the
I think
majority what
it's
the
very
majority thinks.
majority, and it's very often based on it's like accumulation of knowledge. That this is how
Hmm.
our ancestors lived and the rules they followed.
But it's not very precise. It's just like more or less, because we just or if it's not more or less, it's just basic.
What do you mean?
Because this accumulation. I mean, it's not like we know exactly.
Of course we
Um,
do, because your grandma told you, and her grandma told her.
but in that case, going back to that, low temperatures and catching cold, then in that case, this is also common sense
It
because people
was.
believe it. It was.
until we discovered that it's not.
All right. So until, let's say, scientists proved that you actually get sick because you catch a virus or a
But
bacteria.
listen to, especially with this cold. On the one hand, I agree that there is no uh, what's it called? Causation, this
Yeah.
connection between exposing yourself to cold temperatures and getting ill, because you get ill
Hmm.
only if you catch a virus or you get infected by a bacteria. But exposing yourself to cold temperatures when your immune system is not at its best
Yeah.
exposes you, to all these viruses. So in a way, it's still
In a way,
kind.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's not. It's not a direct link, but it may happen, maybe even often,
Yes.
that actually, yes, you are not 100% how to say that, prepared or immune, and then you
Or
even,
you
you know,
expose yourself for too
you
long. You
strain,
stretch
yeah, you
yourself
strain,
too long,
exactly, 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 exactly.
and your body stops resisting because it has
But that
reached
is some
its
kind of a
limit.
mental shortcut, that low temperatures lead to, catching cold. They may, they don't have to, right?
But once we understand that, then it seems common sense to you to avoid this exposure, which is in this case um, is not effective because you need to train your immune system. So
Hmm.
it seems um, rational and logical to to stay at home most of the time, but it's not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great, great. So, reality is like more complex than the common sense is telling you. However, the truths may overlap in a way, and at the end of the day, your common sense is right. Stay at home, don't go out, and you may avoid catching cold, right?
Well, it's so interesting why in English it's called common, because the implication, what it implies is that what a lot of people believe, common, yeah,
Hmm.
belief common among a lot of people will be probably, rational. But in
Hmm.
our languages, it's the other word. It's, this healthy,
Healthy, yeah.
здравый. But здоровый, здоровый here doesn't actually, it's not to do with health. We use this
No,
as
no, it means
mm,
sound,
sound,
like,
yes,
yeah,
sound.
yeah. It's
So
a
you're
sound
you're
sense.
you're healthy mentally to assume this.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yes.
So, yeah,
It
you're
has
not.
nothing to do with how many people believe it, because many people may be crazy,
Mhm.
not sound.
Yeah, yeah, and that is why
So in our
this
culture,
common
we
sense.
rely on what? On mentally sound and healthy people's opinion. And in America, they rely on what? On
On the
crowds,
majority,
on the
like, yeah,
majority.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, but I guess at the end of the day, this is one and the same concept. I mean, it's
The
just
concept is the same, but why
so
different
so
names?
we can make a reference to the power of the words right now. If they
Mm.
actually matter here. But Masha, there's one more concept I would like to confront against the common sense, and it's wisdom. Do you think they are synonyms or just sisters, or how do you see the difference between wisdom and common sense, and someone wise versus someone who's commonsensical?
Mm. I think it takes something more to become wise than to just
Hmm.
have common sense.
Hmm.
Because common sense, I think, after all, it can be just, you can just borrow this. That's it. Some
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
before you
Yeah.
concluded that this is common sense, and you just keep using, these beliefs. But wisdom is something you become. It's through your own experience. I guess.
So you don't borrow the wisdom from your grandma,
Well,
like,
you borrow it, but you do something with it.
mhm.
You have to experience something yourself. Can you borrow
I'm
wisdom
not.
from your grandma? If she was
Yeah, but she's
wise,
teaching you something like, recipes, how to cook or whatever, how
well,
to
that's
make
not
pierogi.
wisdom.
It's not wisdom.
No.
All right, this is know-how.
Yeah.
But no, but there might
Do
be,
you think if you were shadowing King Solomon, you would become wise yourself?
good point. Rather not. I mean,
Well,
you would
maybe.
look maybe, but you wouldn't be wise yourself. I don't think that copying anybody is a wise strategy. And definitely
Observing,
not.
making your own conclusions, trying to exercise it in your own life. Yes. But by just, you need
No,
to be
copying like one
challenged
to one
with
is the
making
no.
copying
This is not
what?
the way. Copying one to one, like let's say you see Jeff Bezos, he made a fortune. Let's do exactly the same things he did. I mean,
You
you know.
don't become wise by
But then again, I
just.
will say that Bezos is wise, and I don't want to say that. But
Well, you, on the other hand, thinking about all these green policies and how they may be changed and thinking, coal is the right thing to invest. This at least reminds me of a way of thinking a wise person would do.
this is
No?
cunning. This is
Cunning.
cunning.
Okay, cunning.
It's not. I mean, wisdom has nothing to
Shrewd.
do. Yeah, because I think a wise man, if you gave all your savings to a wise man and tell him to invest it, I think you would have to say bye to your savings. I don't think wise people can beat the market. I don't think so. This is a question of being cunning,
You
of
don't
being
think that what's his name? Warren Buffett is wise?
no. I think I mean, with the kind of funds he has at his disposal.
He has, but
Um,
how did he came by all these funds? He made all this money by being wise.
I think by being cunning.
Well,
I think by
I
being
don't
cunning. Of
know.
course,
I
he
think
says, with Buffett, it's interesting because he's a long-term investor. So you're right that he was analyzing certain branches of the economy, certain sectors, and I think I'm not so sure, but I think he was never into new technologies so much. He was rather about the real economy and so on. And yes, it brought him fortune. It's true, but right now the guy is the market. It's like he's so big
you don't think he's
that
wise?
I think he's smart. But I don't. I mean, yeah, there is wisdom that he acquired over the years for sure. Certain wisdom.
Are there even different kinds of wisdom, like financial wisdom,
Yeah, there is a street
life
wisdom.
wisdom,
Yeah, yeah,
street
yeah.
wisdom? So
Yeah, you're
maybe
right. There are
he's
wisdoms. You're right. There are different types of wisdoms. But in that case, I think it's cunning because wisdom, in my opinion, is connected with some moral sense, some moral aspect. And there's no morality on the markets. I mean, it's just
but
who's
look at
going to
this. Maybe
dupe who.
common sense right now is to buy coal, but
It's a
Warren
common
Buffett, because
sense.
he's wise, may do something counterintuitive in your view, and
Hmm.
in the end will win.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think that if you're wise, then you may actually do, and wisdom, in fact, is always surprising. I mean, if you read the words of wisdom, you're like, oh, that's a paradox. But this paradox contains some grain of truth, or even all of it, but it's always
Really, I
surprising.
thought when you read the words of wisdom, you just say like everybody and knows that. It's not a
No,
secret, not a
no, this is a
surprise.
banal. This is a banal. This is a cliche or something. if you read, words of wisdom that you already sort of heard 100 times before or more, I think it becomes a cliche, becomes a banal. It's not
I
really.
think true wisdom is when everybody thinks that, yeah, like we know that, but like, if you want to be happy, be happy. It's everybody knows that, but once you really sit down and think about it and you understand how wise that is,
Yeah, I have
I
my
think it's a
reservations
special
about that
kind of
phrase, but
wisdom.
but um,
Well, why?
I
It
would say
means that
that
you only, okay, let's not go into this
wisdom is
again.
often paradoxical. It's often like or maybe not paradoxical. It's sometimes there is, paradox is involved, but at least it's rare. It's not like it's not a common phrase. It's not something that everybody's talking about. Wisdom is actually something that is rare. If you want to learn something, you know what? I've got a good example. Give me a second. Maybe I'm going to find it because I took a picture of it. I was reading a book. Oh, I wish I could find it. Our listeners need to excuse me. All right. Mm, all right. So yeah, it was about love, falling in love.
Hmm.
I read a book, by the way, great book, Stoner, by John Williams, I guess, is the author. And uh, he said something like that about love. That there was William Stoner, a teacher of English at the university, and he had a wife and a child, but then, of course, he started a romance with a young
Of
student
course,
because it's kind of a cliche,
that's what
right?
professors do.
Yeah, I guess. But he really fell in love, and he actually experienced true love in contrast to
What he had
his
with his
relationship.
wife, yeah.
Yes. And he said something like this, that he discovered at the age of 40 that falling in love and loving someone are two different things.
That's what I
You,
told you in one episode.
yeah, but love, he says that love discovers in front of us, sorry, reveals in front of us, because I'm translating from the Polish language, reveals in front of us someone completely different than the person we fall in love with. And you love someone to get closer to that other person, not to the person that you fell in love with. That's kind of, I think it's I think I understand that and I agree with that, but at the same
But
time,
I
it's not
never
what you
thought about it
read.
myself.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, yeah, some sort of this. I would say this is really, when I read that, it made me actually take out my phone and take a picture of it, scan this text,
Hmm.
because it's kind of, it's yeah. So wisdom is like, there are some nuggets of it here and there, and it's rather rare. With common sense, I'm sort of answering my own question, right? Am I not?
Please do.
With common sense, I think common sense is more like, yeah, of course, this is what you think. Yeah, this is how you think, of course. It's common sense is more,
Okay,
well,
okay, yeah,
common.
yeah, I
You know
agree.
what I mean?
Yeah, more common, yeah.
Yeah,
Like don't
I know it's.
kill, don't,
Oh, you mean the commandments, Ten
yes.
Commandments? Is that common sense or is it wisdom? I mean, it's actually both. Yeah, because it's not.
If they were not common sense, nobody would, well, I mean, would be much more difficult to follow them.
Yeah, but like the commandment "don't kill." Is it actually
That's
wise?
pretty common sense.
It is wise. It is wise,
You
but it's
must
common
not kill.
sense.
That's pretty common
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, but you could dive into explaining why, right? And you could start a whole tirade about evil and what is evil, and that evil at the end consumes itself. and and it's logical contradiction to kill, because if you kill, you may gain power, right? You become more powerful because you kill your enemies. But at the end of
But
that,
the
all
whole
that
point
killing,
of common sense that people don't need to hear your explanation. They just take it as it is because to them it's common sense.
yeah, because it's some sort of. But once again, I don't think that, or at least I don't believe that if you repeat a lie 1 million times, it becomes common sense.
Watch any dystopia.
Yeah, but then you may have some kind of rebels who say, let's get back to common sense, because it's not
Or
common
not.
sense, this kind of Orwellian, dystopia or something. It's not commonsensical in a way.
Well, then it's not common because most people believe it's
Hmm.
common and only one
But then
guy
it's sound, because
is a
our
sound.
languages,
Yeah.
yeah, our languages, I guess, name it better.
Yes.
Yeah, because we say it's sound, and this soundness remains sound no matter how many people believe in it or don't believe it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then who decides if it's sound or not?
Oh yeah, that maybe the majority. It's just like a vicious circle, right?
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
vicious circle. All right, great. But um,
But I hope common sense will restore its lawful sound commonplace.
yeah, all right, great, Masha. Thanks so much for that. This kind of confrontation of science against common sense. By
I
the
think
way,
I failed it. I didn't find any, and I couldn't answer.
the question is difficult, but I had a great time, like, exploring this with you, going into the unknown and so on. I've got one example from now. Let me, yeah, from Agata, who of course, who's also our author in our newsletter, and she said that children um, think in a commonsensical way when they use language, for example, because they have some grammar rules and they apply these rules across the board and they don't know about the exceptions.
Yeah, if
And
they
so
say
they
go,
will,
if they learn go, they say
yeah,
goat because they,
goad,
yeah,
yeah. And this is
this is
commonsensical. Come
common
on. I
sense
mean,
for them. Yeah.
yeah, for them. And generally, I would say that,
Yeah,
why,
that's,
like,
yeah.
95% or 99% of verbs end like that. There are only few exceptions, you know?
Oh, like 60 or 50 only. Well, but doesn't
Sure.
not,
Well, it
yeah,
doesn't
like,
matter. Okay. But the majority anyway. And
mm,
so it's logical and commonsensical to add this same suffix to that verb, but it turns out it's wrong. And so children make some mistakes, children or language learners, when we speak about language, but I'm also speaking about the L1. That's just, it's quite
yeah, yeah,
common
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to make mistakes in the second language, but in your first language, you may also be wrong because you apply the rule across the board
Mm-hmm.
and you think it will stick and it will
Mm-hmm.
be correct every time, which is not true.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, this is
interesting.
where you use common sense. So and I think um, I'm not sure, however, if you know the exceptions, if that means that you are wise and that is wisdom, because wisdom knows that common sense will not be applicable everywhere.
In this case, you apply science, linguistic rules, but science.
You sure it's science?
Well, why not? If you study it at
Yeah, maybe.
university, it's science.
Linguistics, yeah, linguistics is science after all. I was thinking at first, okay, but it's only descriptive, but it doesn't matter. Science is actually descriptive. I mean,
Yes,
it describes certain processes, right?
yes.
And the fact, so why do we have these exceptions? This is
No idea,
strange,
honestly.
Yeah,
English, I
but
think, is very irregular.
yeah, you think that, everything is gonna work fine if you add this or that suffix or prefix, but it doesn't. So you have logical and illogical and not unlogical, for example.
Mhm. And how they try and teach it in course books, like let's look at some, ways to form word families. But and students, because they think it's common sense, they ask you, so what is the rule? Let's say if a word starts with this letter, we use this prefix. Like, sorry, there are no rules. Then why do we have it? Yeah, well, just to,
Yeah, yeah,
it's funny.
yeah, yeah. So, I don't think that you can go through learning a second language using just common sense, because there's not much common sense, in languages.
Well, they say that in German there's a lot of,
Oh,
not
German.
not common sense, but not so many exceptions.
Mm,
At least when it comes to spelling,
it's interesting, if I wonder if there are any stats that would prove it. But then again, German has these long words, like 50 letter words or something, come on. All right, but no, but it's true that German is pretty logical, and I wonder if, but there are exceptions, of course. I mean, if you think about the third participle and so on,
Don't
second,
know.
third. Yeah, yeah, for
Don't know
sure.
anything about German. Only Auf Wiedersehen.
Gehen, ging, gegangen, I guess.
Maybe.
If I remember, my brain is remembering something from a distant past. All right, Masha, thanks a lot. I don't want to prolong this conversation, and this adventure into common
Can
sense.
go on forever. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's always something, to use.
Non-commonsensical. Yeah.
One more example. One more example. This is not mine.
Okay.
I'm smart because I spoke with other people. Solange, who also was our guest on this podcast. She said that according to common sense, there is no smoke without fire. But scientists know that they can mix two liquids, don't know what, don't ask me, and they can actually produce smoke. So you don't need fire to have smoke. So like the commonsensical thinking that you need fire to have smoke may be easily debunked by scientists.
But this is the thing about common sense. It's not very common for two people to come together and produce smoke. It's not a common situation. Only
Oh wait, people
scientists do
smoke
this.
cigarettes.
But they first set them on fire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So common sense is applied in common situations.
Yeah, for common folk.
Yeah, common folk
Yeah,
don't go to labs and start try and
exactly.
get smoke without a fire.
Exactly. So the
So
common folk,
finally, we understand why it's common in English.
yeah, it's not about majority, maybe. It's about the social class,
Maybe.
like, common people.
Like holop, you say,
Yeah.
holopsky rozum.
Chłopski rozum, yeah. It would say, yeah, exactly. It's that. Ah, I see that. So we were wrong all along.
It's like ordinary wisdom.
Hmm. It's ordinary wisdom, exactly. This kind of mm, low-hanging one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're right. And
And there
and
is this rule of razor, something like razor. If there are two
mhm.
explanations for one event, then the simple one is usually the correct one. Do you know this Okinawa razor or whatever? Some Japanese guy came up with this law.
No, I don't know that, but
Okiwa, whatever. Don't remember, but there's something Japanese there.
there's something Japanese in it, but you mean that the simpler explanation
Is usually the correct one.
is usually the correct one. Mhm. I think lots of people could debate it,
That's
but
some
yeah,
kind
if
of a
that's a
law.
rule, yeah, if it's a law, yeah. All right, and
Have you
and
seen
and
this movie? Okay, you probably haven't. Doesn't matter.
oh, no, I haven't. I probably haven't, unless
Contact.
unless it's Star Wars.
Contact. No,
Contact.
Contact. With Jodie
Was about
Foster.
some that was about some
That's a
aliens.
not well. No, but space travel and this was it's very interesting, and they use
All right,
this law in the end too. Yeah.
all right, great, great. I just want to say that, and this is again, this is someone else's thought, but I guess it was Solange. Yeah, again, she told me that if you lived only according to common sense, like all your life applying common sense, common sense, common sense, common sense, then your life would be very, how to say that,
Common.
mm,
I'm sorry.
down to
To
earth,
Earth. Yeah.
and actually, common sense doesn't give you big ideas like like wisdom can do, right?
Hmm.
Because you don't have any in the common sense. There's no
And common
reflection
sense
about
is
life.
averse risk. Aversing risk will not
Yeah,
get you far.
yeah. Oh yeah, great, Masha, great, very great. Yeah, definitely risk averse. It's like common sense. Once again, it's so your life based on common sense would be simple, but also quite
Golden
um
medium.
yeah. Suddenly,
Yeah.
like
I don't-
golden medium is or the happy medium. It's called the
or
happy medium,
happy.
Masha.
Or sometimes golden medium. No?
I said it once and I was reproached, oh, you just say golden medium. This is
By
a
whom?
talk by Zosha, who maybe from our podcast too.
So
She
you're
was
teaching her English and she told you that you're using
no,
a
I'm not
calc?
teaching her. No, no, she reproached me on Twitter, and I guess she was right, because I was researching that later. You can find that golden middle or something like that,
It is in the dictionary, but maybe it's not used in
but
like
it's kind of, it's I don't know. Anyway, I
sweet
got
spot.
yeah. Fine. Masha, thanks a lot for this conversation. Thank you to all our listeners. I hope you thought along with us about this concept, the concept of common sense, science, wisdom, and
And if you haven't, you can first of all, you can become a student and we will make you think along.
we will make you think. Yeah, exactly. We'll make
Or
you
you can
sweat.
come to this show. We can also kind of nudge you into it.
I just wanted to say,
Or,
Masha, using this opportunity, that it's actually fun exploring concepts without being prepared before. So thinking aloud, in other words, it's actually fun. I mean, this
well,
is
it is, but then later you think, oh my God, I was so stupid. I could have done so much better.
yeah. You're right. You're right. I always,
But it's
it's
already
very often I feel
online
like that.
for the whole planet to listen how you are
Oh, who
failing.
cares, But we are getting wiser
I
after
hope.
that. I hope, and I think it's happening. And of course, we leave a certain trace, of our process of thinking and so on. But we refine our thinking. And if
If
you
we
actually
if
say
we
something out
were
loud,
doing that, then after 3 years of recording this podcast, we would probably be able to discern these two
Einstein's.
concepts. But we're still not.
No,
So
I think
I
I
don't
think
know.
we are. I think we are wiser
I
than
think we're
than we
just
were
having
before.
fun. That's what we're doing.
All right.
But shh, it's a secret.
All right. Over to you.
No, over to you. So we what can people do? They can please they can have classes with us. They can come
Of
and be a
course.
guest on this show. They should subscribe to our newsletter where we
And they
share
can
some
also
common
be
sense and
authors. They
little
can also be authors
authors. If you
of.
want to contribute, we will publish
Yeah,
your um
absolutely.
whatever you produce, even if it's a piece of art. Yeah,
Yeah.
visual
I
art.
mean, first
Uh
of all, if it is, and whatever else you want to add, if you have some funny memes or I don't know, pictures from your hometown, come on, we are waiting.
or if you like this show and you want to support and listen to more of us having fun, you can buy us a coffee
Click the
on.
link. Yeah, click the link in the description. Everything's there always.
Yes.
All right.
Having said all that, this was another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.